Hi besties. So, a toast to the world we dream about and the one we live in now. I messed up twice in my video yesterday that I know about anyway. I messed up that quote from Hadestown. I said the world we dream about and the world we live in now. I said world twice, it's one. Whatever. And then the other one, someone commented, they're like, I know you meant communism, which like, when I first read that, I thought it was about the title of the video, and I said like I'm an anarchist, and then like a lot of the video was me talking about like how I said I was an anarchist, and then a bunch of people were like, you should read communist like writers, and like actually you identify as communist, because a lot of anarchists, or a lot of people started as anarchists and then moved to communists, so you're actually a communist. And so I was like kind of talking about how like I was annoyed at people telling me what to do. They're like, I know you meant communist, but, and I was like, are you kidding me? And then I kind of thought it was a joke, like playing off the video, but then like I read the whole thing and they're like, you said the end goal of capitalism is a classless, stateless, moneyless society. I obviously meant communism there. Anyway, so yeah, that was my video about anarchy yesterday, if you want to watch that, why I'm an anarchist and why you should be too. It's a joke title because I was complaining about people telling me what to do, so I was like, I'm gonna tell people what to do in the title. But yeah, okay, today I wanted to talk about Israel again. I've been talking about Israel a little bit. I had a video about like their propaganda in TV shows that I was rewatching with my dad. Like I rewatched Parks and Recreation. We started How I Met Your Mother, but then the Israeli propaganda like pissed me off and I was like, I can't finish I don't want to watch this anymore. And like there were a couple other shows I mentioned. So yeah, I've talked about Israel a little bit, and I wanted to talk about like specifically how like the things that people say to defend Israel, which is like a lot of times people say like Israel has the right to exist. That's like specifically what I was gonna focus on today, and then I guess like if I feel like I want to talk more I'll expand to other ones, but like that's just the one I was thinking about today, or yesterday I guess. So yeah, does Israel have the right to exist? I would say no. No, because no country, first of all, no country exists. Like people exist, and people, Palestinians, should have the right to exist. Israel as a country does not exist and does not have a right to exist. And I would say this about any country technically, because like I'm an anarchist. I don't believe in borders. So like we're like the land is there, and then we just like arbitrarily decide to split it up and say like you're this, like you're from here and I'm from here, and people from here are like this and people from over there are like this, and we're different. And like I feel like by splitting it up and like identifying as like I'm from here, like you're inevitably gonna like other people who aren't born where you were born. And I think if we all just like saw ourselves as like citizens of Earth, we could call it Palestine, the one state solution. But like whatever, like just citizens of one unified planet, like I think we would be a lot better off. And then also just like even under, if you want to pretend that countries exist, because so many people do that. Like, okay, I just want to like expand on that a little more. Like I don't think that like wars would happen, like at least to the extent that they do. Like there might be some like disputes, but like you wouldn't have like this whole landmass of like the United States, quote unquote, like what we call the United States. You wouldn't be able to like unify like 300 million people under like one like flag, and then like you wouldn't be able to get like as big of an army, you wouldn't be able to like make the same type of weapons. Like it would just be like less chaotic, you know what I mean? Like I don't think it would solve all the problems. I don't think like, because indigenous people of Turtle Island didn't really like, as far as I know, I mean we don't really learn that much about them obviously because of like the United States is trying to genocide them, and has been for like 500 years. So yeah, we don't learn that much about like what was going on here before the colonists arrive. So yeah, I don't feel like comfortable talking about this like in general, but like I just feel like from what I do know, like there were still like wars, but they weren't like there was never a World War I and a World War II started by indigenous people, you know what I mean? And like, yeah, so back to Israel. Does Israel have the right to exist? Like, sure, it's like recognized under international law or whatever, um, but like, what does that even mean? Because like we have the UN, and the UN won't prosecute or like do anything bad against Israel because the United States always vetoes anything that like could stop them or like get them in trouble in any way. So why does Israel, the country, have a right to exist more than the like actual Palestinian human beings, not to mention like all the olive trees that were cut down and burnt in Palestine, and like all the animals, like there's horrific videos of like the animals in especially the Gaza Strip. It's like so sad. Like dogs, packs of dogs like looking for human remains on the street. It's, oh my, it's so sad. And so like why does Israel, the country, have a right to exist more than not only the people but also like all of the life that they're killing? It's like they're killing plants, they're killing animals, they're destroying like all kinds of like, they're just destroying the land itself. And so like why does this like fictional idea of a country have the right to exist more than everything else that actually does exist on that land? It doesn't. Israel doesn't have, like the country Israel does not have a right to exist, and it doesn't exist. It's a figment of our collective imaginations. Meanwhile, like Palestinians are actual people with lives. So like it's such a tired argument to me. Like, oh, Israel has the right to exist. Israel has the right to defend itself. Again, do Palestinians have the right to defend themselves? Technically, under the Geneva Convention, Israel does not have the right to defend itself. So this argument is also like really really annoying, because it's like, no, actually, like even if you want to say Israel, the country, has a right to exist, like sure, what if you want to like pretend again, but like if you're gonna say Israel has the right to defend itself, you're just like going against international law at this point. Like the Geneva Convention does not give Israel a right to defend itself against the people it's occupying. Like an occupying state cannot defend itself against the occupied population, and the occupied people do actually have a right to defend themselves according to the Geneva Convention. So if you're gonna say Israel has a right to defend itself, you just sound like you don't know anything. Like you're just wrong. Okay, and we're only 8 minutes in, and I already feel like I really hammered home that first point. Israel does not exist and does not have a right to exist over if they're like not killing every living thing. Like I would say maybe like sure, they can stay, but they're choosing to commit genocide. And also it's not my place to stay, they can stay. Oops. Like it would be up to the people living in Palestine, the Palestinians. Anyway, I saw a post on Blue Sky. I forget what the original post is, but then there was someone in the comments. Okay, so forget the original post and the first comment. Someone responded to one of the comments, and they were like, when is Israel gonna, or when is Palestine gonna recognize like Israel as the two-state solution, or Palestine and the Arabs or something? And I responded like, if someone stole your house, let you use the attic and the basement, and like didn't let you go out the front door, would you recognize them as a roommate? And then they were like, if I stole your house and like you were gone for a while and came back, but now someone's living there. Whose house is it? I was like, still mine, dumbass. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, I just hit the 10-minute mark, so I hope I can cuss now. What the fuck, dude? So, and then someone responded, I was like, still mine, LMAO. You thought you did something there. Someone else responded, like, so if I steal your house and just make sure you're, like, away from it for long enough, then it's legal and moral and right. It's like, yeah, like, exactly. Like, I've seen so many videos of Palestinians talking about their, like, family home. They're like, oh, my grandpa built this home, and, like, stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, so if someone steals your house, even, like, 75 years later, like, Palestinians should still have the right to go back to their houses that, like, their grandparents built and were, like, forcibly stolen from it. If they're forcibly stolen at, like, gunpoint, like, that house still belongs to that family. Like, they still should have it back. They should have the right to return to the house that their grandparents built. Meanwhile, like, Jewish people from all over the world who have no, like, actual connection to those houses, like, are just taking, like, they have the right to go take them. Like, not all Jewish people aren't Zionists, and they're not all going and, like, stealing Palestinian homes. I don't want to, like, conflate Judaism and Zionism, which Zionists like to do, and then claim that everyone who's against Zionism is an anti-Semite. So we're not doing that here. That's the Zionist playbook. Yeah, like, Jewish people from all over the world are allowed to still, even if they're, like, morally opposed, they're still, like, able to, and Palestinians aren't allowed to go back to their homes that their grandparents built, and that's tragic, and they're not allowed to live in them. They have no connection to their, like, ancestral land anymore, and, like, even if they had the land back, like, a lot of the trees were burnt down, like I said. And so, like, again, why does Israel have the right to defend itself against people? If you're defending yourself, like in America, you know, like, there's the right to self-defense, but, like, who gets to use that? George Zimmerman, his right to defend himself against, like, a 12-year, I forget all the details, he's, like, a 12-year-old kid. Oh my gosh, I'm starting to, like, I'm like, is it Tamir Rice? No, that was a different kid, wasn't it? Man, the details are fuzzy, but yeah, George Zimmerman gets to, like, kill a young black child wearing a hoodie and holding a bag of Skittles, and, like, Israel gets to defend itself from Palestinians who are, like, throwing rocks at tanks, which is, like, not actually, it's, like, more of a symbolic protest than anything. They're not actually, like, harming Israel at all, for the most part, like, and they get, like, again, and then people will talk about the hostages, like, these Palestinian children are getting imprisoned for throwing a rock at a tank or something. Like, they're hostages too. I'm not the first one to say that. Yeah, the Palestinian prisoners, which there are thousands of them, like, way more than the Israeli hostages. And yeah, I just, like, yeah, I don't think we need to get into the whole, like, myths about what happened on October 7th, all the lies. They weren't myths, they were lies. Just straight up, not even lies, but, like, Israel took things that they've done to Palestinians and then projected on, like, and said Hamas was doing these things to Israelis. And it's like, no, like, anything that they said happened on October 7th from, like, the Hamas side was done by Israelis to Palestinians. I'm not claiming, like, on that day, like, the burnt babies, the, like, how many babies has Israel killed in Palestine to make up for the 40 beheaded babies, which, like, I think it turned out, like, one actual child died that day. And, like, I would, like, okay. So yeah, I've been, like, I don't know how to phrase this, like, defending Hamas, like, to people, like, a lot of people be like, well, of course I don't condemn what happened on October 7th. Well, what happened on October 7th was Palestinians who have been, like, basically imprisoned in a concentration camp, fought back. That's what happened. Like, they wouldn't have had to fight back if Israel didn't steal their land and like force them into this concentration camp and like deprive them of so many things. Like Gaza's been under siege since like 2005. People say Israel pulled out of Gaza in 2005. No, they didn't. Then why are there still military checkpoints everywhere? Like, why can't they like leave Gaza still? They can't like go fishing without like, there was a rule that was like you can't go more than like 3 miles out or you'll get shot by the Israeli army. But I saw recently they're like, anyone who even approaches the shoreline is considered a threat. Like, you can't go fishing in the ocean, you can't go swimming. The airport, Israel bombed Gaza's airport, all their seaports, like they're trapped there. They're trapped there. There's food right at the border, like thousands, millions of people around the world, potentially like a billion, I don't know. So many people around the world have sent money and food and aid, and it's just sitting at the border. Israel won't let it in. Why do they have a right to do that? Why do they have a right to say, like, no, I know you paid money, like, to send this food here, but like we're not gonna let it in, because they make up like arbitrary reasons why like you can't have a certain product. Like you can't have a first aid kit because that could be stolen by Hamas and like transformed into a weapon somehow, and so like they can't get medical kits or like first aid kits or something. They're not allowed to have chocolate. What's Hamas gonna do with chocolate and pasta? It's literally, they're trying to torture. They are torturing. Like, Israel is torturing Palestinians. They're starving them. I read recently that a lot of the Palestinians in Gaza are reaching the like stage 5 malnutrition, which is irreversible. Even if food becomes available in the future, they'll never, I don't know what that means, like if they'll just be like weak for the rest of their lives, or they'll probably just like die anyway. Probably the second one. Like, yeah, it's not okay, and Israel doesn't have a right to do this according to international law. And then also, again, if you want to like pretend that countries are a thing, why is Israel the only country that gets to be a ethno-state? Whatever. And like, why are they allowed to commit genocide against like people that like, they've already stolen the land, they've already like killed so many people, and they're just like carpet bombing Gaza. They're still like stealing more and more land in the West Bank, making more and more illegal under international law settlements. They're still like cutting off, they still control like the water and the power. It's just like, and I'm tired of having the same arguments about it over and over. Like, oh, you don't think Israel has a right to exist? No, I don't. Oh, do you condemn October 7th? Do you condemn Hamas? No, I don't. I think Israel is committing genocide, and that's bad, and that needs to stop. And yeah, anything that like gets in the way of that, yeah, I don't know if I have any more to say, but I'm just really mad. And yeah, that one like blue sky comment, I was like, are you kidding? Like, you think it's okay to steal someone's house if you just like, if they're gone for long enough? Like, if you steal their house and you like trap them behind a wall so they can't, and then like threaten to shoot them if they come anywhere near that wall within like 300 meters. I don't know what a meter is. But I saw a video that said if you get within like 300 meters of the wall, they'll probably shoot you. Except on October 7th. Okay, I do want to talk a little bit more about that, because I started to say, like, the events of October 7th were known. Like, the Israeli officials, like the government, they knew that Hamas was like working on something. They knew they were planning something, and they knew when it was going to happen. and they approved the music festival to happen anyway. Hamas did not know that the music festival was happening that day. Oh gosh. Okay. Sorry. Messed up. Just the most annoying part too. I didn't work over the blue yarn to get to the next stitch that I need to do. Everything else was right. Okay. Yeah, Hamas didn't know about the music festival happening that day. The Israeli officials who approved the music festival that day knew that Hamas was planning an attack. So like everything that happened on October 7th, I blame Israel for, because like I said, they wouldn't have had to fight back if you didn't steal their land and like imprison them in a concentration camp. And then second of all, like the music festival was approved by the people who knew that Hamas was planning an attack. Hamas has said, like, in the aftermath, they were like, we weren't aware. They said they didn't know about the music festival. Wait, what am I doing? Okay, I'm confused. Okay. Okay, whatever. I think I messed up again. Yeah, Hamas didn't know about the music festival. A lot of them said like they were like it was more going on than they were like ready for, and like things may have happened in the crossfire, but like Israel used the Hannibal directive to like kill their own like soldiers rather than have them taken hostage. So they did like kill their own people on purpose. And if you look at there's like scenes of burnt cars and stuff. Hamas doesn't have the technology, the weaponry to do that. You know who does? The IDF. So like, yeah, Israel opened fire again. Like, they're not a competent army. They're used to like attacking kids with drones. They're not prepared to like actually take on fighters, and they like open fire against their own citizens. Like, I think more Israeli citizens were killed by the Israeli army than by Hamas. And Hamas was specifically targeting militants. And I read a story about like there's an Israeli woman who was like home, and she said someone was in her house and it was someone from Hamas, and she like freaked out. And they just asked, like, they took some food because Israel's been starving Palestine. They've been under blockade since 2005. So yeah, they like took some food and they just like left, and they didn't do anything. She wasn't a militant. And yeah, it was just like people like, yeah, I didn't even mention the R words, the rapes. Those were debunked. And also like Israel has one of the highest like pedophile percentages of any country. They have like the most pedophiles like per capita, you know what I mean? And then like I saw someone call this like a liberal conspiracy theory, but I was like, I'm pretty sure like Jeffrey Epstein and his island were like working, like didn't that come out where like he was like an agent of Israel, and like he would like blackmail people, like famous like politicians and like famous people, like powerful people. Like, isn't there a quote of Jeffrey Epstein saying like, I take pictures of them fucking like 13-year-olds, and like he uses that, well, although like people are like, Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. I'm like, how do we even know he's dead? Like, how do we know he's not just like, he didn't fake his death and like just move to his island or whatever? I don't know. Is that a liberal conspiracy theory? Anyway, yeah, it's like, isn't it like, didn't it come out that he's using that stuff to like blackmail these powerful people into like not speaking out against Israel? Like, so anyway, so like, yeah, the claims of the rapes, again, that's projection, because Israel is like, oh my god, I'm sure you've seen, there's like that video of that like old Israeli man. He's like an ex-soldier, and he's just like talking about the Nakba, and like he's like, oh, like bragging about raping like a 14-year-old like Palestinian is sickening. Yeah, like that's what they do, and then they blame Palestinians, they turn it around, and like, why do they have a right to do that? And like, okay, I'm also gonna say, like, I'm American, and I recognize that like we also came here and stole land from indigenous people and are like still like committing genocide against them, and still like not giving them, like, not honoring treaties, not doing, like, still putting like oil pipelines through their sacred lands. Even if they're not sacred, they're still like, the oil pipelines are still like gonna cause a lot of damage to a lot of, because it's not a matter of if they leak, it's a matter of when. And like these pipelines are going through these like natural like places where people aren't living, so they're still like kind of, yeah, like rivers are just gonna be polluted. A lot of species of animals could like die out, and like we're still like working on actively destroying their lands. I saw a picture, this was like years and years ago, because it was on Twitter. I stopped using Twitter a long time ago, and then I'll see people on Blue Sky still like every day that are like, I decided to stop using Twitter. And I'm like, if anything, like the moment that Elon Musk did the Nazi salute at the inauguration 2 times, like that wasn't the cutting off point for you. Like anyone who admits to like still being on Twitter, like, oh yeah, I was on Twitter, just blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, mute. Like, why are you're supporting a Nazi? Like, if you go on Twitter, you're gonna see ads, and like you're like financially helping. Anyway, so I'm like, if you've still been on Twitter this whole time, I don't care about anything you have to say. Mute. Anyway, what was I talking about before that? I said I saw a post a few years ago. God, what? Oh no. Oh my gosh, my mind just went blank. Sorry. Okay. Should I just stop the video here? Like, I'll like rewatch it tonight and then start over wherever I was going with that Blue Sky, whatever tweet I saw. I'll just start talking about that tomorrow, I guess. Thanks for watching. Here's my little cat progress. I don't like the contrast between these two, the light blue and the green, so maybe I'll end up frogging this and starting over, but this is an example of what it's supposed to look like. She's so cute. Anyway, I gotta hang her up. Bam. Okay, that's it for me. Thanks for watching. Tune back in tomorrow and I'll finish my thought. Okay, free Palestine, free Congo, free Sudan, free all oppressed beings everywhere, and also I have other stuff you can watch down below if you want. Otherwise, see ya, bye, thanks for watching.